Hi, my name is Brittany Lintz. I am a board-certified lactation consultant working in private practice. I want to welcome you to the Early Childhood Education Staff webinar. I want to open with this quote from the Surgeon General. One of the most highly effective preventative measures a mother can take to protect the health of her infant and herself is to breastfeed. 81% of birthing people decide to breast or chest feed. Out of those 81%, 76% of birthing people initiate breastfeeding, and 60% of families don't meet their breastfeeding goals. Some of the reasons for early cessation of breast or chest feeding are going back to work, low milk supply, pain and discomfort, and lack of support from caregivers, their workplace, and partners. The role of early childhood educators and professionals is really important in breast and chest feeding. 1 in 4 birthing parents go back to work by 2 weeks postpartum, and African American women and women in low-wage jobs tend to return to work earlier after childbirth. Some data from the infant feeding practices study shows that breastfeeding at 6 months was significantly associated with support from child care providers. Some of the benefits for baby are that breastfeeding lowers the risk of many diseases. It lowers the risk of respiratory tract infections. Breastfeeding to 3 to 4 months lowers the risk by 72%, and exclusive breastfeeding lowers the risk by 77%. The longer the baby breastfeeds, the lower the risk of obesity, and breastfeeding has been shown to reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes later in life by 40%. Babies who are breastfed any amount have a 23% reduced risk of ear infections. Those who are exclusively breastfed for more than 3 months have a 50% reduction in ear infections. There are also benefits for the lactating parent. It lowers the risk of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure. How does breast milk measure up? When we look at this graphic, we're comparing formula to breast milk. Human milk has the perfect combination of fats, carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, and minerals to meet the nutritional needs of newborns and help them grow and develop. These components are easy for babies to digest. Human milk also contains important non-nutritional components, such as antibodies, digestive enzymes, hormones, and growth factors that are important for protection against infections, bacterial, and viral, allergies, and other diseases. Milk changes as the baby grows. The mother's body adjusts to her baby's growing needs by making more milk. When we talk about hunger cues, these are some signs that we can tell that baby might be hungry. Some of the early hunger cues are during light sleep, baby's eyes may move and they may make sucking motions. And the mid-hunger cues, babies will suck on their hands, they will turn their head towards the breast or chest, and they start to open their mouth. The late stage of hunger cues are when we start to see baby kind of turn red, we see crying, irritation, and they're extremely upset. Satiety cues. These are some ways that we can tell that baby is full. Hands and body start to relax, so you'll notice that those will loosen up. Babies may fall asleep, and they may stop sucking completely. When it comes to storing human milk, we want to use the CDC guidelines shown here. Thawing human milk. Frozen milk can be thawed in the refrigerator. It can also be thawed under lukewarm running water. You can set the bottle or the storage bags in a container of warm or lukewarm water. You want to swirl the breast milk to mix the fat, which may have been separated. We do not want to microwave human milk, as this creates hot spots and breaks down important nutrients in human milk. How long before you can use that milk, or how long can you use the milk? You want to use thawed milk within the hour, or you want to place it in the refrigerator. If it's been thawed in the refrigerator, you can use it within 24 hours. You never want to refreeze thawed milk. We also want to discard any milk that's left over in the bottle within 1 to 2 hours after the baby is done feeding. Paced bottle feeding is the preferred method for any and all bottle feeding. We want to watch for the signs of hunger. So that's when we see that rooting, we're bringing the hands to the mouth and starting to suck. We want to hold baby upright, tickle the bottle nipple on their lips, and wait for baby to open their mouth. We want to hold that bottle flat and parallel to the floor. This prevents the milk from pouring into the baby's mouth and allows them to control how much milk they're taking in. We want to allow baby to take frequent breaks, and feeding should last about 15 minutes with paced bottle feeding. We want to end the feeding when baby shows signs that they're full. So these signs might be that they stop sucking, they start to turn away, or they fall asleep. And we're going to see this demonstrated in this video.
Hi, I'm Angel from the Mom Team, and I'm here with Amber to help us out. We are here to talk about the steps you can take to bottle feed your breastfed baby.
Now, this is something my girlfriends always had questions about: when to do it and how to do it.
Well, it's recommended to stick with direct breastfeeding for at least the first few weeks to build your milk supply. However, it is okay to feed your breastfed baby your breast milk from a bottle when you have to.
And as far as how, there's a great method based on how babies feed at the breast called paced bottle feeding that's both easy and comfortable for mom and baby.
First, look for cues that your baby is hungry, like searching for the breast or sucking on hands. Then, you want to hold your baby close to you in an upright position while supporting the back of his head and neck. Then, just tickle his lips with the bottle nipple.
Once he opens his mouth, put the bottle nipple in so that the nipple is pointing toward the roof of his mouth. This will cue him to start sucking.
Hold the bottle horizontally, tilted just enough to keep milk in the bottle nipple. After drinking for 5 to 10 seconds, give your baby a break by bringing the bottle down. When he starts to suck again, bring the bottle back up.
The key is you want to make it as much like breastfeeding as possible. Allow the baby to latch on to the bottle when he's ready. Make sure he's sucking the base of the nipple and not just the tip. You'll want to let him take breaks, just like when he breastfeeds, and allow him to end the feeding when he's ready, just like with breastfeeding. It's that easy. Something that I learned early on with my baby is that crying doesn't always mean that they're hungry.
That's a very common thought mothers have. However, there are several reasons why a baby would cry. Crying is a way of telling a parent something needs to be different, so explore the different reasons why your baby may be crying before reaching for a bottle. He may just need to be held, burped, need a diaper change, or something else.
Exactly. It's also important to know that babies don't follow a routine or a schedule like we do.
Right. Sometimes babies just need a drink. Sometimes they need a snack. Sometimes they need Thanksgiving dinner and they'll be back in 30 minutes for pumpkin pie.
Yes, and that is completely normal.
Babies should only be fed when they're giving a feeding cue, not by the clock.
Yeah. You know, paced bottle feeding is a great tool to show your partners or anyone that's helping out.
Paced bottle feeding is something your family can easily learn while your baby is still breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is still something you will want to continue, and bottle feeding is a great option as long as it feels the same for your baby as breastfeeding.
Yes, and another good way to make sure bottle feeding is like breastfeeding is by choosing a slow flow nipple for your bottle. This will seem more natural for your baby.
That's a great tip. Just remember, keep pumping and feeding to make sure milk supply continues to grow as your baby does. If you have any questions, let us know. From all of us at the Mom Team,
Talk to you soon.
bye.
One thing that you can do for your childcare facility is you can create a lactation area. We want to create an environment that's welcome to lactating parents. Some parents will want a private space, and others will be comfortable feeding their baby in open space. A small area or room where they can breast or chest feed. This space should be equipped with a comfortable chair, an electrical outlet, and a small table for expressing milk. And this area should not be a bathroom. Some tips for a breast and chest feeding friendly environment. We want to use pictures or art of nursing babies to decorate. We want the childcare staff to know your local community resources to give to parents. These can be resources for lactation professionals, support groups, or handouts. You can also add books to your library about babies or animals that nurse. Have a clear, defined space for employees and parents to breast or chest feed or express their milk. And here we have the 10 steps to a breastfeeding friendly childcare. We want to have a written policy that reflects the program's commitment to promoting and supporting breastfeeding, especially exclusive breastfeeding, and share with employees and families. We want to train and evaluate all staff in the skills to support and promote optimal infant and young child feeding. We want to inform women and families about the importance of breastfeeding, provide learning and play opportunities that normalize breastfeeding for children. We want to ensure that all breastfeeding families we serve are able to properly store and label their breast milk for childcare use. We want to provide a breastfeeding-friendly environment. We want to support breastfeeding employees and ensure that each infant has a feeding plan that supports best feeding practices. We want to contact and coordinate with community breastfeeding support resources and actively refer mothers and families to those resources. We also want to train all staff, teaching and non-teaching, annually on the protection, promotion, and support of breastfeeding. Here are some resources that you can use for your childcare facility. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed this informational talk.